Hello, everybody. Session 31, Part 1, Critic and the Critical Work of Art. The present session introduces John Middleton Murray and also presents the key arguments of T.S. Eliot on critics and critical work of art. About John Middleton Murray. John Middleton Murray is an English journalist and critic who was born on August 6, 1989 in London. His parents were John and Emily Murray. His journalistic works pronounced views on social, political, and religious questions before the public. Murray was influenced by his famous writer wife, Catherine Mansfield, and his friend D.H. Lawrence. He worked as an editor for literary magazines, Athenaeum and Adelphi. He had worked extensively on the works of Catherine Mansfield, D.H. Lawrence, Keats, and many others. Between Two Worlds, written in 1935, is his autobiography. Murray died of heart attack in 1957. This is image of John Middleton Murray, courtesy National Portrait Gallery. According to David Golding, the two initially had much in common. They shared common concern about the need for a revised literary critical practice adequate to the recent developments of international modernism and the consequences of the First World War. Both T.S. Eliot and John Middleton Murray agreed on the need for a restorative of tradition, but the perspective differed. Murray already saw tradition as little more than a helpful descriptive term for the combined efforts of individual isolated writers, while Eliot emphasized a tradition, gently perspective in effect, actively shaping individual practice with its powers of suggestion and precedent. Their difference of opinion continued even while understanding Romanticism and Classicism. By 1928, the stated differences between the two critics were stark. Eliot was clearly on the side of an approach to literature that was temperamentally conservative, that was classical, orthodox, and that stressed the ordered virtues of traditionalism. Murray was now his antipodes, espousing a literary liberalism that was romantic and unorthodox in preferring subjective response to objective evaluation that was enthusiastic rather than dogmatic and the hymn the virtues of individualism. Eliot was predisposed towards traditionalism just as Murray was towards individualism. Murray's The Classical Revival were invariably contributions to an ongoing dialogue and therefore lacked such objective weight as they might have had then been uttered gratuitously. When cooperation turned into conflict, that mutually transformed into fruitful antagonism, as each offered the other a heated cross examination in which critical ideas could be forged and tempered. The first phase of explicit disagreement between classicism and romanticism. Murray, the tradition of romanticism is just as lofty and august as the tradition of classicism. Critic and the critical work of art. T.S. Eliot's essay, The Function of Criticism, written in 1923, is a work of angry intelligence. It's a response to Middleton Murray, who criticized Eliot's understanding of tradition, romanticism, classicism, and many more. According to T.S. Eliot, a critic requires a great sense of the past and the facts, and hence doing literary criticism is not a spontaneous activity. Criticism for Eliot meant analysis of literary text, and for him, it could not be for itself. The literary text should be viewed as organic wholes in the sense of literature of the world of Europe. It's not the collection of individual writings. Here, no importance for the artist as an individual. A common inheritance and a common cause unite artists consciously or unconsciously. The chief task of an artist is not to assert himself like the Romantics did, but surrender himself to the common action. Arts and the artist. Literary text should be viewed as organic wholes in the sense of literature of the world of Europe. It's not the collection of individual writings. Here, no importance for the artist as an individual. A common inheritance and a common cause unite artists consciously or unconsciously. The chief task of an artist is not to assert himself like the romantic did, but surrender himself to the common action. Criticism is not the autotelic activity. According to J.S. Eliot, the criticism is not an autotelic activity because a creative work of art requires great efforts and hard work. Those who consider criticism as an autotelic activity should be strictly criticized. The primary objective of criticism is explication of literary text and correction of taste. Critics must conform to cooperate in common pursuit of true excellence. For him, evaluation of literary text was an important function of criticism. Thank you.